I've lived in Virginia Beach in the area around for over 40 years. And so in this video, I want to talk to you about all the things that I found that I like and the things that annoy me still to this day that I've had to deal with when living here on a regular basis. I've helped so many people move to the area. You can see that there's an excitement that comes from moving to the area, the beach, all the other things around the beach and the fun stuff that you can do in the Virginia Beach area. But what I've also found is that that novelty wears off. And so at the point that that novelty wears off, what's left? That's the question. And that's what I want to help you with today. I can tell you for sure, the novelty of the newness has worn off for me. But here's what I have in that last 40 years of living here. And this might be what you could also expect when you move to the area also. So let's first talk about the good things that I do find about living in Virginia Beach, especially after all the excitement about moving has gone by. Well, so the honest reality is one of the biggest reasons why people move to the area, except for jobs and family nearby, is the beach. And the beach is one of the big draws to the Virginia Beach area, not just Virginia Beach, but the whole Hampton Roads area, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Hampton, Newport News, Williamsburg, York County, James City County, the entire Hampton Roads or Tidewater region. The beach is one of the big focal points. And people love that. And the affordability of the area to be near the beach is one of the things that makes it so great. Personally, I am not a beach fan. I don't like the beach. So that's not why I live here. But I do know for a fact that people do come here for that reason. And I've had to learn why people love the beach. I've had to learn to like the beach or to appreciate the beach for what it is. So I can then understand what makes a beach cool and not cool, or interesting and not interesting. But the reality is I don't like the beach. But I've chosen to live here for a lot of other reasons. And that is also why I want to talk to you today about all those other reasons. So there are other great things. So another big thing about living in Virginia Beach that I have found over the time of living in the area is that there is a big outdoor vibe that comes from living in the Virginia Beach area. You have so many parks, over 200 publicly funded parks in Virginia Beach, but not just Virginia Beach. There's Chesapeake, dozens of parks in Chesapeake, some as large as many you'll find in Virginia Beach. You'll find some also in Suffolk. You'll find some also even in Norfolk, some outdoor areas, even closer to downtown Norfolk, Town Point Park, areas along the water. So you have a variety of different types of outdoor activities and outdoor opportunities. But the reality is that in the whole region of Hampton Roads, you have a lot of outdoor options, but especially in Virginia Beach, you have so many. In addition to the main parks. So what do I do for the outdoors? Well, my wife and I, we live close to Mount Trashmore, which is in the central portion of Virginia Beach. Well, Mount Trashmore is great for you've got running trails around the outside. You can go up and fly a kite on the top of the hill. Friends of mine go to the beach. We might walk on the boardwalk. The boardwalk along the coast of Virginia Beach is very, very awesome. I love that. I mean, my wife and I walk down that boardwalk and you feel the breeze, and you'll even feel some sand kick up in your face and as you're walking down the boardwalk. So a lot of different types of outdoor atmospheres, parks. Mount Trashmore is the one mountain we have. It's a hill, really. But you have a lot of different options there. And so even if you don't like the beach, you can do a lot of other outdoor things and really enjoy the fresh air and not feel contained to your house. And that's another thing why I do like Virginia Beach in the area, because you do have that flexibility, because the weather is not extreme. And that's another thing that's good about this area, is that the weather is not either extreme cold or extreme hot for very long. There's a variety here, and the variety is what makes the living in the Virginia Beach area so comfortable, is that you do have winter, spring, summer, and fall. And with each season, you have a range of temperatures. You have a range of feelings. Like you could feel very, very sticky in the summertime, which can be annoying, but then it can lead to several days in a row of mid 70s or low 70s and mild. So you have variety. It's not one of those where you always are living in an area that is gray or gloomy or even always the same, like even in San Diego, where I've heard that it's the same. It could be awesome every day, sort of, but then eventually there's a mundaneness to that similarity every day. And so here it's not like that. You do have variety. I do like that variety. And so if you don't like that, that might not actually be a positive. But for me, if someone who does like variety, I do think that's a positive to living in Virginia Beach. And on that balanced weather note, is a greater good to living in Virginia Beach in the area, which is optionality and balance. This is, I think, the biggest reason why people come to the area and stay, is because of the balance of so many different vibes, so many different options you can have to do different things. You have different, the outdoor activities, like I mentioned, like the parks. You have the beach. You have some sports. There's the Norfolk Tides and the Hampton Roads Admirals or Norfolk Admirals that's in Norfolk, Old Dominion University football. You have different vibes of real estate, so you can live in a lot of the suburbs of Virginia Beach or Norfolk. Or Chesapeake, or you can go into the rural parts of town in Southeast Virginia Beach or Suffolk, or go up into Newport News in Hampton and Waynesburg and get maybe the history that comes with Waynesburg, or the historic / suburban area that is on the, I'd say, one of the most underrated portions of all of Hampton Roads, which is the western Newport News side of town. I think that's a very valuable place to go after if you want affordable real estate, by the way, for what you get. And with that balance comes the balance of being able to go to other parts of the country in a pretty reasonable amount of time. For example, if you want to go for a day trip to Washington, D.C., you can get there in 3.5 hours. If you, or 4 or more, traffic, I guess, depends on the traffic. But if you go to, you can go to Richmond and go to like a more of an old, high character area. You have the flexibility of things to do along the coastline. There's a balance of different things you can pick from that make the living here interesting. Maybe you are interested in schools. Well, there are some of the top ranked schools in the area or the state in the Virginia Beach area, specifically some elementary schools and some high schools. People will come out of the state to move here to live in some of the Virginia Beach and Chesapeake school districts. For example, there are a lot of high-ranked schools in the area that people will go out of their way to put their kids in these schools from other parts of the state or the country. So that's another thing that makes this area so balanced, is the schools. You also have the safety. Virginia Beach and the area around is also known as a very safe area. I mean, you'll look at the crime match, you'll see what I'm talking about. But again, like with every city, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, every area around here, you'll find pockets that are not like that. So it's not across the board. But for me, majority of living in Virginia Beach for me has been very, very quiet, really, or Chesapeake, or even Norfolk. And I also like that it is generally affordable. Now, some might say, well, it's not affordable compared to, maybe a place in the middle of the country where you can get a house for $300,000 and everything you want. Well, that's not what this is. You might be spending $550,000, $600,000 for a house in Virginia Beach, or $450,000, or you might find a house you like for $375,000 in Norfolk, or $550,000 in Norfolk. Based on what type of budget you have, based on what type of lifestyle you want, there is a good chance you'll find a type of house or living setting that you like. And that's how what I like about the Virginia Beach area is, like, for me, we live in Virginia Beach. It's a little bit more expensive than living, for example, in Chesapeake, even in some parts. But as a general rule, whether you're looking for a house that's $350,000 or a house that's $2 million, you will be able to find different options in not just size of house, not just location, but also lifestyle and age of house that gives you that flexibility to choose the type of lifestyle that you want. And I do like that for myself too. And that's what makes me so happy with that. But on the flip side, there are parts that don't feel that way. And I've experienced that too. So I've lived in Norfolk, and some of the places where that people will go out of their way to live, like on the western side of Norfolk, around Ghent, I've had my car broken into before. I know other friends of mine that have had the same experience. And so even in pictures and things that you see online, there are times where you'll be in places where I can tell you for sure, like, hey, it's definitely not perfect. But I do think that with the areas that don't feel safe, there are plenty of areas that are. And so that's why I find that in general, it's an in-demand place to be for safety. And for me personally, that's what I've experienced. With schools, one thing about me is that I was homeschooled. Well, they say, well, why would your parents do that if the schools are also in such high demand? Well, it was not actually about the school districts themselves. It was more of what we wanted to do or what my parents wanted to do. It had nothing to do with the actual demand of the schools. But what that allowed me to do was experience the entire area. So I have many friends in just about every school I can think of in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, or I've gone to those schools. So I can tell you for sure that, there are some places that are ranked like in the middle of the rankings on niche.com, for example, or greatschools.org. And those middle of the road schools online, I have a lot of friends that have graduated and turned out great in those areas. And so again, I have friends in all these places, and that's part of what has made me notice that, again, rankings are what people often focus on because it's one of the only things they can go off of when they move here. But I know for a fact from people that I know and friends of mine that have graduated from some of the top in-demand schools in the area compared with some of the others that aren't ranked as high. Again, it matters a lot. But from my experience, there are a lot of people I know that have graduated from some of those not top tier schools and love their experience in school. So to put a bow on the things that I like about Virginia Beach and the area, I've tried to think about an analogy for a type of restaurant that fits what living in this area is like. I don't like this restaurant necessarily. I'm not a chain guy. But for the sake of the conversation, Cheesecake Factory, that's what I think resonates with me as far as what type of area this is. Why do I say that? If you ever want restaurant information or advice, let me know. I can give you more like hole-in-the-wall stuff. I'm not a big chain guy. But Cheesecake Factory is one of the few that's like this, where it's almost like a buffet. It's not a buffet, but you go look at the menu and there's a lot. There's a lot of menu options, and so you can pick what you want for that day. And you'll say, okay, it was a good meal, But then you think there are other areas that are probably better at any one thing, except for dessert, where dessert and Cheesecake Factory, you might be coming and you're like, man, cheesecake is amazing. Well, that's kind of like what the beach dynamic is here. There are a lot of things about Virginia Beach and the area that make it interesting, that make people want to be here. If you look at the menu, all the menu options are pretty good. And that's what Virginia Beach has, is a big menu, a set of menu options of pretty good/good, and then one thing that's really, really good. So you're hearing me talk about some of these positives, but then also going to be talking about some negatives here soon. But with that, I want to mention to you, this is kind of how I talk through with people about living in the area. I am a real estate agent. I've done this for 20 years. I help people relocate to living in the area. If you want more details, real estate, living in the area, the cost of living in different parts of town, like weighing the balances. So going to the bad, one of the things for me that I found that's super annoying is I said the weather is great, but man, it can be awfully humid. It's the kind of humidity that it kind of just wraps you up. In the middle of the summertime, you might think you're just supposed to wear a t-shirt and just feel a bit warm, but then this layer of dew just seems to kind of envelop the area you're around, and you feel it all day sometimes. And this is mostly in July, August, but as a general rule, while it is hot, it just feels that much more uncomfortable because of this humidity. And you'll see other parts of the country that are hotter, like for example the Southwest or even the South, but the humidity here I think takes the above average heat in the summertime and makes it just uncomfortable for at least a couple of months. It's just uncomfortable, and the temperatures can taunt you because you want to be outside, but man, it just that humidity element just adds an extra level, and it gets frustrating to a lot of people because this area is so military rich, and so how it is a very commuter area, a lot of driving. You don't really find that there is a bond that brings everybody together for one specific purpose, and there's no like tradition or rich history of the people that live here currently. So then the next thing is, one of the things I don't like about the area is I do find that a lot of people that I know I'm close to end up moving. And it's not because they are wanting to get out of here. Sometimes it is, but usually it's not. Usually it's because they're in the military and they get stationed elsewhere. Some people will want to connect. You'll get some people that just are looking for it. And there are some that really aren't that interested. And it's not that they're not nice people. It's just that they are not in a life situation to allow themselves to feel like they want to get connected. And you'll find too, there are people here, I've had this conversation with people before, that there are Virginia Beach people, there are Chesapeake people, there are Norfolk people, there are often Newport News, there are Hampton people, there are Williamsburg people, and there are Suffolk people. There are people like that kind of take the personality of the specific city that they live in or from. And so there's a blended atmosphere here as far as all the cities kind of blend together. but at the same time, each city has its own personality. I live in Virginia Beach, but again, for me, I guess I feel like my personality I take from different parts of the area to make me, and that's why I think, being in the entire area, because I just love driving and seeing and experiencing the differences of what makes the Hampton Roads area, or the 757 as they call it, the Virginia Beach whole area, different, and what makes each area different. And so the next thing I think that's bad, it could be a positive depending on how you look at it, but for me it's a bad thing, is I love driving, but the reliance on driving is what makes, to me, something I don't like about this area, because I know people that want to move here that want the walkable atmosphere, or even me. Like, I like the ability to walk. I'm a very active person. I like to bike. I enjoy the outdoors. This area just isn't designed for that. And they're trying to, in different parts of town, construct or reconstruct roads and make it to where there are more bike paths. Norfolk is like that. You can do more walking type stuff and biking in parts of Norfolk. But in like with Ghent, the downtown, like Norfolk-ish Ghent area, that is a walkable area, as well as parts of the Vibe District in Virginia Beach. And that can be frustrating because, again, I like being able to walk anywhere. And I've gotten used to it, but it's just not the best. It's not the same. And I think that's a drawback to living here. And I've found that I've gotten used to it, but it's just not the same. So on the walking note, on the area being so, I'd say, real comfortable, relaxed, there are a lot of neighborhoods, so many, that you could walk in. There are no sidewalks, but you can walk through. Your ears are quiet enough in most cases that it really hasn't been a big factor. Another one on that note is the construction. So this area has grown, especially in the last 30, 40 years, but there's a lot of construction in the roadways, especially over the last 10 or 15, to make up for the weird road configurations here. And I mean, I've been here 40 years. I sometimes will still get lost in certain nooks of the area. So if you do move here and you get lost, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But in general, just know that there is construction that is almost feels like it's ongoing. And it's just, the city can only do so much to change what the area has been for decades. But a lot of the interstate exit ramps or on ramps, those often have gotten some construction. You have places like Laskin Road in Virginia Beach, where you've got road widening. And then you've got places like the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, which is the tunnel that goes from Norfolk to the Newport News on the Hampton side. Zooming in right here, that tunnel is the worst. It's going to be finished. There was a tunnel expansion that's been going for years, another expansion, but that's going to finish. Once it finishes, you will see traffic drop quite a bit there, or the surprise backups. But again, it's still a tunnel, and people will still be driving slower through tunnels. That's just kind of the reality of it. So traffic everywhere is annoying for me, and you kind of have to plan around it. And I've just done as best I can to accept that reality. The other thing that's bad here, I think, but doesn't really affect me as much, but I do want to mention public transportation is not good, or not widely used either in the whole area. You do have the bus system. You got the light rail, especially in Norfolk, that goes across a lot of parts of Norfolk. But at the end of the day, this is a commuter area, and you pretty much need a car to really explore and experience what the area has to offer, and potentially what your job might require. So get ready for that. And on the annoying part about the traffic is too, there are so many stoplights. I get super frustrated about the stoplights. There's just so many of them. There's intersections. Pick a random intersection or spot in Virginia Beach. Like, there, all these roads through like Rosemont and Holland Road, Lynn Haven Parkway. I mean, every spot you look at where there's an intersection, near there's possibly also a stoplight. Stoplights everywhere, roads that bend around. This is over into Chesapeake, more stoplight. There's stoplights everywhere. Now you can say, well, Sam, welcome to America. That's stoplight central. I know, but man, I think it's just because it's such a suburban area, like through the entire area. It's so heavy suburban. That means that there are a lot of side roads, and with a lot of side roads, there's a lot of stoplights. So you don't really have a spot where you're just gonna be blowing through town at your speed limit, safely obviously, but going through town without too many stoplights, and that can affect the traffic. Expecting one length of time to get from one place to another, and it being like 5 minutes longer or 10 minutes longer, that is partly because of the stoplights. The other bad thing too is with the benefits of all the weather, like the balance, weather whiplash. Some people don't like this weather whiplash. You could be one day it's 60, another day it's 37, and windy. So that happens a lot. I don't know if it's because of, you can talk to a meteorologist about that as far as what the actual weather patterns are, but man, I played golf on New Year's Day before. I've seen snow around New Year's Day before. But you don't see a lot of snow, but you don't see a lot of heat. Same goes in May. Like I've had seen the entire month of May be all pretty much like 25 days rain and cold or cool for May, like 50s and rainy. And I've seen the opposite where it's like pretty hot in May, like summer started early. Then the summer stops and it goes back into spring where it's like low 70s for a week and a half. There is no way to plan too much around each individual day and what the weather looks like. Generally speaking, yes, but each individual day you could be surprised and then not really be surprised because you can't really expect any specific temperature or conditions in the Virginia Beach area. But what has made me annoyed with living in the area is it's one thing. It feels like something's missing. You've seen a lot of my videos. I talk a lot about these drawbacks or the trade-offs and what makes me say this is a benefit, but also if you do like this, here's the drawback to that. I love finding the balance there, and I think Virginia Beach in the region is a balanced area, an area full of balance. And with balance comes the lack of one or many elite or big in-demand things. But that's the fact that there are so many things that make it balanced is what makes it so great. So it's kind of that tension in between good and not good. So if you have any more questions about relocating to the Hampton Roads area, Virginia Beach, through Norfolk, Chesapeake, all through Williamsburg, let me know. It's what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. So if you have any questions, I have my contact information in the description. You can also download the relocation guide free, or the QR codes. You can scan that and get it there also. Do that and peruse, enjoy that. When you're ready to move, let me know and I'll help you relocate to the area, and I will see you on the next video.